following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
Yes, it is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO-FM in Jessup. Big Dog Country, 105.5 on your FM dial. Butch Hubbard here with you along with Bob Morgan. And, Bob, we have a special guest on the studio on the phone with us right now. Calling in live from Atlanta. Who do we have, Bob?
It's Tuesdays with Tillery. Got State Senator Blake Tillery on the phone with us. Hi, Blake. How you doing today?
Hey, Bob. Doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing good. I saw where the governor signed your budget, so you have to be happy about that.
One down, one to go.
One down, one to go. Well, the good news is the session's still ongoing. I want to talk about the one issue everybody's asking about is that the COVID-19 vaccine shot. You know, there's been an issue about teachers. Why are teachers on the list? I saw where Elbert County, we talked with, I think, Bill Werkheiser last Wednesday, where Elbert County is being punished because they went ahead and gave the vaccine to teachers when they weren't supposed to. The governor and the state's punishing them. Teachers are asking why aren't they on the list if they want kids in school. You know, they said it makes perfect sense to have the teachers on the list to get vaccinated. You get a wife that's a teacher, where she stand on it, and where you stand on it, what's going on with the teachers.
Yeah. Well, my wife's a doctor, not a teacher. But I do understand where they're coming from on that. The governor's guidance originally was for first responders, so our healthcare workers, our firefighters, police officers, etc., and those who are over the age of 65. Right now, we don't have enough vaccines to even meet that group. So once that group's able to be vaccinated, then I imagine it stands to, I think, the 1B category, which would include others, and I imagine teachers are right there in that group with others. Right now, it's simply a matter of number of doses.
So that's the problem. They don't have enough doses to give out. So
correct. That's been the issue so far.
When do you think they'll get more doses? I mean, you know, that's what they keep talking about how important it is to get people vaccinated. So what's the holdup? What's going on?
Yeah, well, you've got to have more vaccines that have come online now. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is one shot instead of two. There's several other things like that, and also Moderna and Pfizer still churning them out. Remember, with the Pfizer, the issue was how cool it had to be taken. So in our area, where you didn't have as many deep freezers, we saw a lot more of the Moderna vaccines, which has been just fine. So the more doses we can get in arms, the better. The thing that you've seen us do on the state budget side, we added in the amended budget about 41 or 42 million to public health, of which the vast majority went to a new vaccine distribution and registration system. And registration, I'm talking about where folks could go in and sign up online to schedule the vaccine, or that could be ran through a central hub so we knew how many vaccines needed to go to where. Some folks may know this already. We ended up in some little bit odd situations where more vaccines went to some areas than were needed, and they're trying to find folks to, if you were standing outside that building at the right time and above the age of 65, you could get vaccinated without an appointment simply because they had to use the vaccine up within the given amount of time. So what we're hoping is that this system helps streamline things and make it a little bit more efficient. There's actually a bill on the floor today by Senator Hofstetler that ties in a few things of that into state websites overall, not just the Department of Public Health, making them more accessible and with some design standards so that they sort of talk to each other and work together.
As you're just joining us, Blake Tillery on the phone with us from Atlanta. Go back to the budget. You know, we mentioned several weeks ago the $1,000 to the teachers, but understand more people have been added to that $1,000 payment. Tell us who else included.
Yeah, state employees that aren't in the Board of Regents, and then the legislature is excluded as well. So the 236 of us in the legislature, we don't get a bonus. And then the university systems were excluded because it deals with the state constitution and how they're funded. But I understand they're going to the Board of Regents. University system is going to fund theirs through their funding, which is the constitutional way it's supposed to be done. So in our area, some of the big employers, the Department of Transportation, They'll see a $1,000 increase for those making under $80,000. Again, to compensate them and really say thank you for some of the extra duties they've had to pull during COVID-19, including the cleaning of restrooms, the cleaning of doors, et cetera, as folks travel around our state. Department of Corrections, Department of Juvenile Justice workers, they'll see that as well if they made less than $80,000 a year. Department of Corrections and Juvenile Justice will also see a 10% pay increase because we've had turnover that's been in excess of 90% in those agencies. You're hitting a point where, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, you're the man in charge of the budget. Just give us the highlights of the budget. What do you think? What are you happy with the budget? I mean, I know the governor's happy with the broadband money in there. He sent a press release out on that. He promised broadband for the rural areas with the money invested. I think it's $20 million this year, $10 million next year. So he's happy about that. What are you happy with?
Yeah, so when people talk about years of the budget, remember that the budget year runs from July until June. So the budget that we just passed trued up this year's budget, where we're currently sitting from now until June 30th. So the $20 million that he put in the budget for broadband will be spent between now and June 30th, with an additional $10 million to begun to being spent. That's a weird way of saying that, but to start being spent July 1st, that will run through June 30th of next year. So that's how those, when we talk about two budgets in the next year starts in 5 months. So it's $30 million that you could literally see dumped into rural broadband in the next 5 to 12 months. And I expect we'll see that. The highlights on what you asked for the budget, the true-ups of the biggest dollar, $654 million roughly was added to the budget. Of that, $567 million went to QBE and education. You saw another roughly $70-ish million go into the university system for growth, and then about $3 million that went into the Department of Technical Services, Technical Schools, TCSG, for growth there. The $30 million that you saw on broadband, so people are doing the numbers at home, they go, hang on, we've crossed the number of dollars we have. Sometimes we're reallocating dollars within dollars. So when you take and raise your QBE numbers, you have to take out what's called a local 5 mil share, which created a $30 million that goes into broadband. That's probably a whole lot deeper than anybody listening to your radio this morning to hear, but that's how that happens.
And when you were here for the exit issues, you mentioned the 3 important items that will be discussed. One was election reform. So we've seen a lot of proposals on that. So where does that stand at this point, and what do you see passing?
Yeah, you've had over a dozen bills. In fact, one of the first subcommittee meetings on the bills that matter to the folks down in our neck of the woods was this morning at 7 a.m. We'll get a report on that this morning at 9 a.m. Of what happened through that subcommittee process. But those bills are moving, certainly moving along.
And again, what do you see passing? You know, I mean, they're being proposed. I know they're going to be debated. The question is, people are asking, what changes will we see?
I think you'll see a lot of changes as it relates to absentee ballots. I think our office has taken a lot of calls for folks interested in seeing photo ID verification with absentee ballots as well. I think that has a huge chance of passing. There's been a lot of calls about drop boxes and why drop boxes were used in the first place and should they have been used. I think you'll see a lot of debate and discussion about that. And really make an absentee verification process similar to verification when you vote in person.
Will they just do away with the drop boxes? Is that the proposal? Just do away with them altogether?
Well, honestly, if the legislature does nothing, they let the drop boxes go away by themselves because they were only put in by emergency rule due to COVID. So doing nothing at all would actually make the drop boxes go away, but I think you'll see more affirmative language discussing and directing that.
You know, when the session began, that was a big fear again that COVID would shut it down. But so far, so good, right? The numbers are kind of low up in their state legislature.
They have been. We're tested twice a week. I'm about to step in and get my next COVID test right here when we finish this call. We have gone 2.5 weeks now without any positive test on the Senate side. from members or staff. So you're seeing the numbers in Georgia tick down as well. I think our 7-day rolling average is now below 10%. So that's positive for not just here at the legislature, but positive for hopefully a soon to return to normal for folks down in our area.
What's the weather like right now up there in Atlanta? Y'all getting cold rain?
Miserable. Absolutely miserable. And I'd say that if it wasn't the weather. But it is 20-something degrees, overcast, has been for 3 or 4 days now. We took a beating back home. I was home this weekend doing some law work, and it rained constantly. But something about being at home makes it a little more comfortable.
What's on the agenda for today and this week? What should we be aware of?
Yeah, you got 5 bills on the floor today. Most of them deal with licensing. And, for instance, one of them, Senate Bill 27, if someone's trained in the military to be an electrician or to be a welder, et cetera, when they come to Georgia, if they're looking for a licensing and getting their plumber's license or their electrician's license, we try to fast-track that. And this bill, Senate Bill 27, helps with that. It spans the period of time they can apply for that licensing. Again, very pro-veterans move and also a pro-employment move here in Georgia. My good friend Senator Matt Brass has a bill today, Senate Bill 43. It deals with eye care services. So ophthalmologists and optometrists we're seeing in some instances, being pressured by insurance companies to do things that really probably aren't within the insurance contract. And so it's a fairness issue for ophthalmologists and optometrists. That'll be Senate Bill 43. It's on the floor today. And several other licensing bills as well are proposed. And then the website design standards bill I talked to you about that mentioned as we were talking about public health.
As always, again, you're accessible. If people need to get a hold of you or have a question, what's the best way to get in touch with Blake Tillery?
The easiest way is just call my cell phone. I appreciate that more than anything. 912-245-9915. And can't answer your question. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Well, kiddo, it's always good to talk to you on Tuesdays. Stay dry, I guess, up in Atlanta as it is miserable. It's been raining for the last, it seems like, 2 weeks, but hopefully it'll get better. Like I said, everybody, like as Butch mentioned earlier, at least we're not in Texas or one of those other states where they're just getting pounded by snow and crazy weather.
Ice and lack of power. I appreciate the folks at Georgia Power and our EMCs keep the lights on up here.
All right. Kiddo, Blake, again, we appreciate you being here on Tuesdays. Tuesdays with Tillery, State Senator Blake Tillery. Always good to talk to you, and we'll look forward to talking to you next Tuesday.
Thank you, too, Bob. See you soon.
All right. Thank you, Blake. Appreciate it so much. State Senator Blake Tillery calling in from Atlanta as they're getting ready to go into session today to continue with the business of the state until they get their 40 days completed.
Yeah, so far so good. Looks like they're going to be able to complete the session, which is good.
Yeah, things looking good so far.
Better than last year.
Yeah, last year, well, it was all new. We didn't know what in the world was going on with all that, so it was just everybody's kind of shut down for a while and then started back again.
As he mentioned, fortunately, the numbers in the state are continually going down the last several days, so that's the good news.
Yeah, the after-holiday surge is now flattening out, and as long as people continue to follow the procedures, follow the guidelines, wear the mask, social distancing, wash your hands, sanitize your hands, and don't get in large groups and try to hang around people you hang around with most of the time. The numbers should continue to go down, and then as the vaccine becomes more available over the next several months, that will also help. But they say we'll still have it around for quite a while, but it won't be near as bad.
Hopefully that vaccine will become more readily available, but apparently they're having a problem getting it out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting my second shot in a couple of weeks and having that all done. But not too bad. If you are able to get the shot, I encourage you to do it. Of course, it's everybody's decision on whether they want to do that or not. Some people just, they don't believe in vaccines, so they don't ever get the flu vaccine. They don't get this vaccine or that vaccine or whatever the case may be. But, I fully believe that the vaccine is something that should be done. And that's the reason why I got it, Bob. Because I'm that first group, 1A, over the age of 65. Makes me feel old. You're in the most important group to get it. First responders and people over the age of 65. Well, did you get to see any of that Daytona 500 yesterday?
It lasted too long. Like I said, they got bored and waiting for it to restart.
It was.
I thought they were going to postpone it till Monday, but they
did.
Ended it at 12:15 in the morning. So.
Yeah, they started it back around 9ish or so, like that, trying to get it all in.
It was past my bedtime.
Well, I didn't get to see the end of it either, but Michael McDowell, very first victory in NASCAR, and it happens to be the Daytona 500. Just being in the right place at the right time with that big accident happening on turn 3 on the last lap.
During the rain delay, they showed how they made the movie Days of Thunder. So I watched that. So, but that's all I saw. Didn't see much of the race.
Yeah, had that big wreck there on the lap 3, and then had that big wreck there on lap 200.
Robert Duvall was excellent in that movie.
Oh, yeah, Robert Duvall was something else.
That's a good movie.
Days of Thunder, Cold Trickle.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it was a classic movie, but last year's point champion, the most popular driver, Chase Elliott second, Austin Dillon third, Kevin Harvick fourth, Denny Hamlin fifth, and I can't read it. Brian Brees sixth, Ross Chastain seventh, Jamie McElmurray eighth, Corey ninth, and Kyle Larson 10th.
The guy that won, that was his first win ever.
Yeah, first win ever.
In 385 races.
All the races, first win ever.
He was like.
And there's been several racers who have won their very first race at the Daytona 500.
It was like a 300-to-1 shot to win it.
Yeah. Yep. Just happened to be the right place at the right time.
Didn't wreck. Everybody else wrecked.
Yeah, all those folks been down. A lot of fiery wreck there at that end. There's fire everywhere. But it was, like you said, a long race. But the Daytona 500 and races will be coming to Atlanta toward the end of March, April there, and NASCAR has kicked off this year.
Long day from 3 o'clock to 12:15.
Yeah, it is. I guess they had to make that decision whether to come back the next day. But they decided, well, what we're going to do here is just wait. Everybody go to their motor homes, and we'll just sit around and wait because, according to the radar, the rain's supposed to head on out of here. And it did. And they raced. And it was good.
I wonder how many people stayed to the end. I'm sure you heard all those conversations where the kids, are we going, are we staying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like when we were at the extra inning ball game. And it went like 15 innings.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting this year is usually, after the Daytona 500, they pack up and they head way out of town. Where they're staying there, they're going to do the Daytona road course weekend this coming weekend. So they still get to hang around Daytona for a week here while they do the road race this week, which, is good. Cuts down on travel. Everybody gets to hang around for a week and enjoy themselves down there in Daytona.
Well, they had a decent crowd. I mean, I'm not sure what the attendance was or how many people they let in, but watching it, it looked like they had a pretty good crowd in the stands. So
yeah,
it looked like they let a lot of people in. So good to see that. Good to see people in the stands watching the sporting event.
Yeah. So they'll stay there at Daytona this weekend with the road race, and then they'll head down to Homestead, keeping it close, just going out I-95 there. And then they head out west on March 7th for the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then they'll do Phoenix, the two races out west. And then they'll come back this way in the state of Georgia. They'll have the race on March 21st. I'm not exactly sure how many people they're going to let into the race. And they're going to let a certain amount in for the race there in Atlanta on March 21st. Just Can't wait till things get back to normal. Yeah.
The question is, what's normal going to be?
What's normal going to be? Yeah. Because it's going to be a while.
Knows.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a while. But looking and glad that the Daytona race is done, and that NASCAR is back running, and looking forward to a great season. Chase Elliott winning last year was great. His dead Bill Elliott was very popular. Of course, they're all from Dawsonville, and it's good to have a Georgia boy win last year, win the points, and be the most popular driver. As a matter of fact, they're doing 2 races in Atlanta this year. They're doing one on the 17th of March, and they're doing one on July 11th, which is it's good to go back to seeing 2 races in Atlanta. I can't wait till I'm able to go back to a NASCAR race. It's been several years since I've had a chance to go to one, but they're always a lot of fun. But the limited number of folks that are able to get in, it's going to wait a little bit until things, probably next year. Next year, hopefully, things will be good. What's going on news-wise this week, Bob? Any meetings with our boards?
City meets today for a work session. County meets Thursday for their work session and meetings. So those are the 2 meetings this week.
Now, the city going to be discussing things going on with the police department in the work session?
No.
No?
No.
No, just talking about regular work then, huh?
To get in their audit report, got to appoint a mayor pro tem, getting their financial statement and board appointments, which they got to finish up. They worked on those last time. They got a few more board appointments to make. So.
Okay.
Didn't realize they had so many boards.
There's a lot of boards out there, Bob.
There's a pile of them.
Pile of boards out there.
Yeah, there's a board for everything. Luckily, I'm not any of
Do
them.
they have a board to elect board members?
They got a board for everything else, though.
A lot of volunteers. All those are volunteers.
All those are volunteers.
Yeah, everybody volunteers to be on those boards. So it's not like they're getting any compensation out of it. They just want to give back to the community and serve on a board. And you said the police departments, Sheriff and Jessup Police Department, made a drug raid over the weekend.
Made the arrests.
Made the arrest, huh? Okay. You can hear the details of that on Bob's Local News at 12:15, and then again at 5:10. All right. And you said Wayne County baseball does not begin back until Friday. Is that correct?
Friday's the next scheduled game at home against Jeff Davis. Got a game Saturday against Lee County at 2:30. Weatherman friend, everybody said the forecast just doesn't look good. It's supposed to rain all week. So hopefully we can get it in, but I said forecast doesn't look good. Basketball tournament starts tomorrow up at Warner Robins. Wish the girls and boys the best of luck. Boys did a good job last night getting that play-in game. Again, Ware and Wayne were 4-5, and only 4 teams make the region tournament, so they had a play-in game last night over in Wake Cross, and Wayne County won that ball game, so that qualifies them for state. Also qualifies for the region tournament, which starts tomorrow at Warner Robins. So, if they both win Wednesday, they play for the region championship Friday, which is what you want to see. If they win Wednesday, they guarantee a home playoff game for the state because the top 2 teams host round 1. So hopefully Wayne County girls and boys can win those games tomorrow and get
So the Wayne County boys is playing who tomorrow?
They're playing they're playing veterans tomorrow.
Veterans tomorrow.
The girls play Coffee. The boys play veterans, which will be tough because veterans is ranked 3rd in the state.
That's a tough draw right there.
Tough draw, but they qualified for state, so win or lose, they're going to be in the state tournament. Girls, if they win, we get that. Like I said, the top 2 teams, top 2 seeds host the first round of state. Okay. So hopefully Wayne.
So 4 teams in each region advance.
Right.
Okay.
That's why Wayne had to play Ware last night for the play-in game because only 4 of the 5 teams make the state playoffs, make the region tournament.
Wayne County boys won over Ware last night to qualify for state. Way to go, boys.
56-50 was the final. So,
well, looking at the weather forecast for this weekend, Bob, Friday's looking pretty good right now. Just a 30% chance of showers in the morning and partly sunny in the afternoon. So that's looking pretty good for a late Friday game. And then Saturday's just nothing but sun. So hopefully both of those games will get in.
Let's hope.
As you said, we're playing Jeff Davis here Friday afternoon, which the weather right now is looking pretty good. Now, You said who on Saturday?
Lee County.
Is that here?
Yeah, here at home, 2:30.
So hopefully we can get both those games in. The rest of the week looking rough. Today we'll have some sunshine. We'll have some sunshine tomorrow morning, and then by late tomorrow afternoon, the clouds start moving in with clouds Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then Friday morning. And then by Friday afternoon, the sun should return. So we can get those two games in this weekend.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. Well, anything else on your mind this morning, Bob?
Well, that's it.
That's it. All right, have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by O'Quinn and Associates, Country Financial. Also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, and First Southern Bank.
The world famous Butch and Bob Show.